banned by Fnatic, and LeBlanc actually came through the second rotation from H2K.
I'm expecting another Zac ban to come out from the side of Fnatic. No need to give that away over to H2K. And now if you're H2K, do you ban away the Thresh? Or do you have something else in mind for a power pick? I feel like the Galio is a big proponent for Fnatic's success in Game 1.
Shen as well, though.
Shen is another one, too.
There's too many options, Vedius.
There are indeed. Fnatic are guaranteed to get 2 power picks. I'm surprised that they consider LeBlanc to be such a high-value target.
It's going to be Kha'Zix.
Everything is open?
Shen and Kennen open here. H2K and Prolly deciding they can play Fnatic at their own game.
Now, if you're Fnatic, I think you should ban out Thresh. And then no matter what H2K pick, you are guaranteed to get yourself Kennen plus a good top lane.
H2K could pick Kennen. I'm calling it right now. This is my play-by-play prediction.
No, well, you're wrong. Why would they not pick Shen?
Well, it wasn't a good prediction. So Fnatic now looking towards the Thresh.
But it's even better for Fnatic because they are relying on the fact that Nuclear doesn't play Kennen. So they're saying, you know what, we'll take the Thresh, we'll take the Galio, and we'll say, you know what, we'll get Kennen on the next rotation because there's no way you're going to pick it away from us.
Knowing Fnatic, that's probably a flex pick.
Or better yet, they can pick the Kennen now and say, are you really going to pick a Shen and a Galio mid? Or they can do neither. What? Man. Okay, so Jankos, surely this is a Kha'Zix pick. Yeah. Surely.
Well, Kha'Zix is banned, so you're probably going to
No.
Kha'Zix.
I'm not on it today.
Okay, let's reset for a second.
Let's
the problem is with Fnatic, even when they picked their champions, it's hard to predict what they're going to pick.
Yes.
That is the difficulty. H2K now looking perhaps towards the Warwick for Jankos, something we've seen coming out a little bit more in the EU LCS.
Yes, very good skirmisher. Not the greatest in team fights, but really good at delivering Shen into the fray. And his single target damage is reasonable, but really it's about that sustain. His ability to outtrade Lee Sin is very, very good in the early game. So counter ganks are definitely some of Warwick's best success, and it's very easy for him to get into lanes with his W as well.
The Rakan pick makes a lot of sense as well from H2K, jumping onto that backline. Shen ultimate to follow it up, Infinite Duress to follow it up. You've got a lot of dive from H2K. Fnatic now probably looking towards the Kennen. We think maybe perhaps 10, maybe 4% probable, sure, of that.
I think a Kennen would make a lot of sense here.
Yes!
We got one!
Predicted
Up
one.
top.
High five, man.
Nice.
Good job. Now, second rotation of bans for Fnatic. Where are they looking? Are they looking mid, AD carry?
Ooh, so if you're H2K, you want to try and ban away top laners. You want to ban away... The thing is, do you want to ban away the Galio at this point? I feel like it makes sense. You also want to consider taking away some of the big carry top laners like Kled, Fiora, maybe... No, you probably won't ban the Gangplank. Soaz always has a lot of options. He has a very deep champion pool. He still has the Jarvan available to him as well. So given that H2K only have 2 bans, I feel like the best bet to do is get rid of the Galio and the Fiora. And then if you're Fnatic, banning away AD carries. Maybe here they ban away the Ashe.
Nuclear played Caitlyn last game.
Yes.
Didn't have the best effect on it, but Caitlyn Rakan is a lane that works relatively well together.
Kalista, yeah, that's a very good, powerful lane too. They're really avoiding any kind of all-in power down in the bottom lane, forcing Nuclear onto something like an Ashe or a Caitlyn, which they feel better at dealing with because of the all-in power of the Thresh Cannon. Very good answer to these safe sort of farming lanes as well. So Fnatic now, you have first pick. Feel like Syndra would be a very safe rotation. Caps demonstrated time and time again. He's very skilled on the champion, and no reliable answers on the side of H2.
So you're leaving your top lane pick for last and trying to get the counter there rather than having your mid lane pick last and leaving the counter there. You trust Caps that much into Febby.
He could also just go for another blind Corki, right? Like, he's a very safe mid laner, demonstrated many a time its value.
Especially when you've got another carry on the team like Kennen. You can be safe, you can fall behind in lane, doesn't really matter because you've got Reckless there later on. It is going to be the top lane Gragas we expect. Not so much flex here from Fnatic. I'm surprised that Gragas is still being picked up from Soaz after the nerfs to the stacking of Doran's Ring. His laning phase is a little rougher because he is pretty mana dependent for his wave clear, and now he gets less mana by stacking it. Still have decent trading power though, and you should hold your own against the Shen up until he gets Tiamat, where things start to get a little bit rougher. For H2K now though, with the Syndra still available, I'm looking at it thinking, should be a high value pick for both these teams. But Orianna just a safe too, right? You have ball delivery system with the Warwick. There's so many safe mid lanes.
Both options are very safe, yes.
We'll have to see what Febby decides he wants. It is going to be the Syndra, and now we have Fnatic with their final lock. Now, Betty, something we said at the end of the last game was how much H2K are going to change their draft. How much are they going to force Fnatic onto different picks? It doesn't look at all like they've threatened Fnatic's usual drafting style.
Well, the difference is this time Fnatic don't have that top laner to save Reckless. This was how they ended up being defeated against Roccat last week. And with Soaz on this Gragas, his impact certainly can be high in team fights. At this split, he has definitely been stepping up for the team, but I also have seen past Gragas performances from Soaz, and he can definitely go up and down in terms of his impact in these games. So
guess what Soaz's win rate is this split on Gragas?
This split, yeah. I want to say it's at 60%.
It's a big fat 0. He's only played one game on it, so it's perhaps a little bit disingenuous to him.
Yeah.
But yes, it's going to be interesting to see how they are able to play around the fact that Soaz can't just join the fight incredibly easily. Odoamne now the one with that possibility. Protect Nuclear,
yes.
Protect Che in that bottom lane, even protect Forbidden in the mid lane as well.
And think about H2K's ability to now force plays down the bottom lane. The moment Warwick gets level 6, Ashe level 6, Rakan level 6, Shen level 6, oof, spice.
Oof is the noise that Warwick will be making as he jumps in.
Yes, he will.
Now, guys, make sure you join in the conversation on Twitter at LOL Esports with hashtag H2K win if you think they can even out this series at 1-1, and hashtag FNC win if you think Fnatic are still the old kings of Europe. I'm pretty sure we know who the fans are voting for. They all just jump onto Twitter really quickly. Make sure our poll jumps in the right direction. We are going to get onto the Summoner's Rift for the second game of this series. Fnatic were dominant in game 1. H2K will be looking to turn around those tables.
Now remember what Broxah did early game in game 1 with the Kha'Zix. He punished Odo for extending up in the top lane, was able to find himself a very quick kill, started the advantage going in the favor of Soaz, which he then utilized down in the bottom half of the map. He's now on Lee Sin, a champion he became renowned for upon joining the LCS, and now he gets it again. Let's see what kind of early game plays he can make, because if he's going to snowball anywhere, it will be down in the bottom half of the map.
That was a lot of respect from Odo and Jankos there, because Soaz actually body slammed into the pit.
He did.
And it would have been very easy for them just to push forward and try and harass him down. But they didn't know where the rest of Fnatic were, so they couldn't take the risk of getting caught out. Could have been an early flash.
You don't want to go for a brawl against a large man like Gragas this early into the game. Let's see if H2K go anyway.
Fox is going to come forward, so as with the body slam. Odo, so low, has to flash straight away. Caps came in from the side as well to continue the harass down, and Fnatic take an early advantage in terms of summoner spells.
Oops!
Also pot burnt by Odo.
Oh no. Oh no, no, no. Odo, that is not where you want to be this early on in the game. You were supposed to burn Soaz's flash. This isn't how it was supposed to go.
You were supposed to equalize the force.
The flash.
No, yeah, but it's
I know the reference. I know the reference. I've seen Star Wars.
Is that the one with the Dragon Ball?
Stop.
Yeah, so Odo is going to struggle up towards this top side. We saw Broxah get the first blood gank up there in the last game. He'll be looking for that once again, especially when you've got a Shen without that summoner spell. Let's talk about the rest of the map for the time being, though. Bot lane, Nuclear and Che have been standout performance for H2K, especially last week. Nuclear's Ashe was very, very strong. Looks like they've got the pushing advantage in this bottom lane for the time being. Are they always going to be able to win out this lane?
You have to respect the all-in power that Kennen and Thresh doth have. And around the level 4 mark is where you have to be the most mindful. The thing about Ashe is she's just kind of so good at everything. She has really strong laning presence. She has really good mid-game spike at 2 items. She scales really well because she scales with crit, and she doesn't have to build a huge amount of crit to like hit really hard. She has engage, but her biggest weakness is her lack of mobility, and that is not something that Fnatic lack at all. Corki package, Gragas flank, Lee Sin, Cannon, So many champions are super mobile, and it is super easy to dive onto Febby and Nuclear. Jankos looks for that.
Jankos jumps in, Caps has to flash away. Febby looking for it, but there's the Valkyrie. Corki is just too darn safe in the early game.
That was a good flash taunt from Jankos. The stun was just a little bit too slow from Febiven. Wonder if the communication was on point, or if Febiven just wasn't quite in the position that he needed to be ready for that play to happen. End up trading flashes though, so they could look for a return gank later on as Febiven and Caps.
Oh, Febiven's actually going to go quite low here. Caps actually getting traded back on one more.
Febiven gets some revenge onto Caps. The solo kill goes to him. Caps, he's the one that uses his dash in aggressively, just like Febiven did in game 1. And it's this time Caps that is punished. Great start for H2K, great start for the mid laner in Febiven.
Let's have another look at this, because this is a solo kill for Febby.
So bear in mind, this is just a bit of poke. He feels that with low mana on Febby, maybe he could win, just going for a bit of trading. He eats the Q, the auto, and then because his basic attacks drew minion damage, minion aggro rather, it ended up in him losing his life.
It's a deficit of playing Corki in the mid lane. You're all auto-attack based.
Indeed you do.
Indeed you do. H2K with the lead in this game, but Fnatic are going to fight for the pride of the Rift in just a few weeks' time. Be sure to check it out on lolesports.com for more on how to join us live here in Berlin. Rift Rivals coming up in just a couple of weeks.
Guys, you are definitely going to want to be there. Some of the best Western teams will be there. Unicorns of Love, Fnatic, G2, some really big powerhouse names that you're going to get to see play, and NA will be there too.
Why are they cheering for TSM?
You guys are shouting Fnatic wrong.
Fnatic. Fnatic. Or H2K. Or H2K. Whoever you want to support, that's good for you. Brox are coming up towards the top side. Odo's flash is almost back off cooldown. And Fnatic's early game has been stymied here by that mid lane kill from Febiven. Was a solo kill for him. Now he is... I think he's got 7 across the entire split. 1 more than Caps.
Yeah.
Does that make him the better mid laner, Vedius? Is this what you judge on?
Solo kills is the determining factor. Or if you kill Faker. That's the other one, right? Those are the 2 determining factors in how good you are of a mid laner. But let's take stock now. We've gone off a little bit. What do we want to see from both these teams in the early game? Well, for H2K, not very much. Very much about the level 6 spike, right? You have the Shen, you have the Warwick, you have the Ash Arrow, the Rakan, quickness. So many ways to start a fight, try and get some early kills down onto the bottom lane of Fnatic. Whereas Fnatic, we did want to see a little bit more proactivity from Broxy. He's now level 5, yet to really exert any kind of presence anywhere on the map. We thought maybe he could go for a cheeky play down bottom lane, yet to venture that way. So he's still taking his time, being a little bit more patient, but definitely the pressure is on for Fnatic. They have to find something early on before H2K
unleash power! That was close.
Not really.
100 HP!
He still had exhaust.
That's true, but he didn't use it.
Because he knew he wouldn't die.
Okay. It's better judge of damage than I am. So as once again going triple Dawns up towards the top side. Not valuing the mana regen that much that it stops him from getting the item. Odo's just going to trade into him. And as you said, at the moment trades are going in favor of So as Odo actually getting caught between the minions here for just a little bit, will be able to use the Grasp of the Undying to heal himself back up.
Now Broxer does walk over a ward. You can see now. This is more of the vision that I expected from Jankos. Wards littered around the bottom half of the map. We talked about expectations of Broxer trying to gank, and now he should have the knowledge that Broxer should be bottom side. He walked straight over a ward. They should know that he is here.
Just need to play a little bit safe. Flash in from Jesus. There's the exhaust. Reckless gets the stun down as well, but here comes the Stand United. Nuclear's low and Chase the one with the ult on him. The taunt onto Broxer's going to lock him up. Jankos joins the fray as Fnatic have to run away. Jesus with a great play, but Jankos is still on the hunt for blood. He's going for Broxer. Instead, he settles for Jesus, and H2K survive in the bottom lane.
Feels to me like Nuclear and Che were not respecting the possibility of Broxer making a gank happen bottom, but this is exactly what Fnatic needed to do. They tried to make a play happen. Unfortunately for them, Odo gets level 6, but fortunately, no one dies. And if they keep this tower alive, that means that Soros is going to get a lot of free damage, a lot of free farm, and a lot of free gold as a result of Odo teleporting down to the bottom lane.
Yeah. Well, he used the Stand United down, but had already used his teleport as well,
yes.
so that meant that he wasn't able to teleport back up to the top lane. Reckless on that cannon, 13-5. That's a pretty impressive record all
It's
around.
not bad, not bad.
I'll take that one. I'm not 13-5 on anything in ranked at the moment, I don't think.
That's okay.
13 deaths, maybe, 5 assists. Tends to be about where I sit. So as is going to get the first tower up towards the top side. As Fnatic actually equalize this gold a little bit. They've gone ahead. Even though they lost first blood, they've now taken the early game advantage. And this is something that they had in the last game that they were able to use to great effect.
Yep. Getting that first tower means that Science will have a little bit more freedom to try and make plays around the map. They need to try and put more pressure down to this bottom lane now. No summoners available for Nuclear and Jay. Caps has got his summoners back up after the solo kill Featherwing was able to gain.
And this is...
was just going to say that the fact that the TP, the ultimate from Shen was forced out in the bottom lane means that it can't actually be used proactively to make a play happen. Nuclear was not level 6, which means that when he gets the arrow, what I would like to see from H2K is try and make a play. Summoners will be down when that ulti is next available. And Fnatic, like, they need to try and use this window now, where that ulti cannot come down from the top lane, when they do have their ultimates to try and make something happen down in this 2v2.
Fnatic once again securing first tower blood top just shows how strong they are at objectives. Both of these teams actually sitting right up at the top of the leaderboards, as they have done in most of the statistics we've looked at. And H2K, very strong at getting those dragons and the barons. Their tower ratio, which means the amount of towers they take before the 15-minute mark in relation to how many towers they give up. So they take 2.2 towers for every tower they lose, is the highest in the league. Fnatic just behind, but still very strong performance by them. And actually their early game across this series has been the better of the two.
And bear in mind that these stats do not factor in the previous game that just happened. These have just been from the regular season, but you can start to see why I have this opinion of these two being the top teams. Like, they have a really good understanding of how to play around early objectives, how to properly use a lead, how to usually play the mid game. Like, these teams are very smart. And while definitely Fnatic had the upper hand, it definitely feels like H2K are coming back fighting much better in this second game, as we see both junglers hanging around the bottom lane.
You say that, Vedius, and I can understand where you're coming from, because the flow of the game, the momentum of the game has been in H2K's favor. You know, they countered that dive bot, they were able to survive, they got first blood, but they're sitting just over 1,000 gold behind at the 10-minute mark after having an advantage. They haven't seemed to be able to actually push that advantage, and Fnatic seem to have all the answers.
Sorry, you handed it off just as I was having a drink of water.
I'm sorry, I thought you had finished your sip, and I was ready for you to say
To answer your question, yes. That gold deficit is largely coming from the tower that did go down in the top lane. But you're right, like, for H2K, they're not actually being super proactive as it is right now. And we keep harping on about it, but it's because that's what we want to see. Use the Shen ulti. Let's go, Oda. Make a play down bot. Like,
you're speaking like a play-by-play caster.
They don't have the information to know that Broxah is on the Rift Herald right now, but what they do know, thanks to a bit of vision that they have in the bottom lane, or that they should think, is that Broxah is not in the bottom half of the map. So I feel like this would be a good opportunity. Instead, Fnatic, thanks to the top tower that they've taken, a very easy Rift Herald, and so he can just continue his pressure in the top lane. Another Rift Herald for them means that they're going to get another tower pretty much. There is a Tiamat for Odo, and we said in Picks and Bounties at the point at which the Shen starts to push into the Gragas. The Gragas struggles a little bit because of that mana. Rift Herald, of course, will help him be able to push out that lane. Jankos spotted out on a ward, and actually, Fnatic are very scant in their wards across the map, but the ones they have been very effective at spotting Jankos in his path. We praised Broxah for his early presence in Game 1, and I feel like he's repeating that once more in Game 2 as well. But I feel like both junglers, their vision control has been rather exceptional throughout this series. The big issue for Jankos right now is that he hasn't picked himself up the early trackers. Instead, he needs that wave clear, he needs the Tiamat to try and continue with his wave clear, even though Broxah has actually got a 25 CS advantage, as we see a roam up top.
Ghost is being used. Soaz does have Explosive Cask and the Flash. Going to look to dive back here. Odo's going for the chase. Jankos on the flank. Has the Infinite Duress. Has the Fear. Will make the damage come down onto Soaz. Easy enough kill for Odo. 2-0 H2K.
But 3 members are invested into the top lane, which means Fnatic, they want to try and push in mid. Good answer from Che to catch the wave and deter Caps from pressuring on that tower. H2K, they get themselves a quick kill and allow Soaz, or Odo, back into the game a little bit.
Did use the Infinite Duress. Didn't use the Unleashed Power. Can still use that in the mid lane if they wanted to. It's another Cloud Drake for us here, Vedius. Just quick shot and stress stole all the good ones.
That's okay. You know, you've got to give them something, right? It's all right, because they don't get to cast with you.
It's true.
It's the trade-off.
Sadly, I'll never get to cast with quick shot.
I don't know if that's a sadly thing.
It is for me. I know, right? Che's going to clear out vision down towards the bottom side. Once again, we see H2K playing a methodical style. It's measured, it's calculated, but last time when they calculated, they weren't able to calculate for the irregularities that Fnatic have, for their ability just to make plays across the map, and Fnatic with this self-called animal style have just been able to continually... Oh, there's an arrow from long range for Bivin. There's the exhaust. The stun comes out. Jankos looking for the chase. The Fear, the Unleashed Power. Cap survives. Hex Drinker is enough to keep him alive.
But it does burn both of its summoners, and 3 members of H2K are now in the middle lane. This is the kind of proactivity we wanted to play, but great shot coming out from Nuclear as Soaz looks to push up top.
Soaz will be bringing this Rift Herald in, and this is the reason that having it on Soaz is so powerful. Jezis checks the bush with his Lantern, and Soaz will be able to get the tower in the top lane. So actually, even though H2K are the ones to take the proactive step to make the play, Fnatic were ready, and once again, H2K's calculations are just a little bit lacking. Fnatic with 2 towers, 2 kills down, but 2,000 gold ahead.
Feel like Fnatic just finding answers to prevent H2K from making these proactive moves. They get that early tower by forcing a play down bot where Shen has to ult in. That means that the Shen cannot be used to try and get themselves some kills. They get themselves top tower, that gives Fnatic then the freedom to get that Rift Herald. Then with Rift Herald, you know that the moment Odo ever leaves that top lane, you can take that tower. And sure, they could have kept Odo top lane for 4 minutes, but that just gives Soaz a load of pressure, it gives Broxy the freedom to go into the enemy jungle, get a bunch of wards, it gives him full control over Dragon. It gives Fnatic so much control, and it really does feel like they have been answering the Shen very effectively.
Well, they play it enough, they should know how to play around it as well.
Think so?
Doing it pretty well. Of course, H2K chose this draft. They were the ones who didn't ban out the Kennen, didn't ban out the Shen, didn't ban out the Thresh, left all of these pieces of the puzzle still on the cards. And Fnatic have been able to play around the fact that they haven't got that global by giving Soaz the tools he needed to be able to push in that top lane.
And speaking of tools...
Oh, where are you going with this?
You can see how effectively these wards are being used. Very effective sight tools.
I thought you were going to say a player's name there.
Why would I say that's horrible?
Yeah, exactly.
A player is never considered a tool. They are a person that adds a lot of value to the team, just like you do when we cast together.
Oh, thanks, Vedius. Caps put some pressure down onto Forbidden, does Valkyrie away as well. Let's talk more about those cogs in the vision machine, the tools that H2K have used to gain vision around. They give you insights,
and they've invested a lot of vision around the Dragon area. And the reason for this is what we're seeing a lot of is Che actually roam mid. And you see Soaz
done, but the Stand United comes in straight away, and Jankos is there as well. Taunt onto Soaz. H2K looking for the Unleashed Power as Che joins the fray. 3-0 H2K.
Very swift response from H2K. The big issue for Fnatic is when they use Soaz to try and make a play, because then Odo can just come to wherever the top lane is. So in the past, what we've seen so far in this game is that Soaz is always punishing every time Odo leaves. But if you're in the same place as Odo, you cannot do the same level of punishment. So Febiven, he gets himself another kill. Now Fnatic, they're trying to make a play onto Nuclear.
So Rakan, Che is actually being pushed away here by Broxy and Jezis, does dodge out the hook. Eventually, he'll be able to get back down towards his AD carry, but for a couple of moments, it looked like Nuclear could have been on the receiving end of a 3-man gank down towards the bottom side. 17 minutes in, the gold, 1,000 in favor of Fnatic, and let's have a look at this mid lane fight from Soaz once again.
So you can see that already Warwick is in the middle lane, primed and ready to answer. Rakan even roams up from bot. Because of his mobility, he can join in, give a bit of defensive stats too, and add that additional CC if it was warranted. But the biggest thing there was Odo with the ulti. Immediately there to protect his mid laner and buy enough time for the rest of H2K to get that collapse down onto Soaz.
H2K's objectives, something we talked about earlier on, have not been good for them this game. 2 towers down at the 15-minute mark or so. Fnatic are the ones who are moving around those neutral objectives ever so slightly better. And now, let's talk about scaling a little bit, Vedius, because already Forbidden's got a Void Staff and a Morello Nomicon. Yet to see a completed item coming out from Caps. Expect that Trinity Force. But as we get later on into the game and we see these 3-4 item spikes from these carries, who do you give this game to? Who just wins late game?
Oof. Well, in terms of the late game, I feel like you have to give a slight edge over to Fnatic, just because you have another 80 carry.
Jay engages, gets the charm onto Caps. Odo with the taunt as well, and here come the rest of H2K. Suppression after suppression. The Bivin on a killing spree.
It doesn't matter if they scale well if you kill him now, as Broxer decides not to try and go for the finish onto Jankos. He did have the fear stacked and ready, so it could have ended in disaster. But beautiful chain CC there from H2K. Fantastic dive. They're now the ones trying to be proactive with their lead. They realize that Soaz can't really continue pressuring top as he tries to get a gank in mid.
He's got Cask as well, might look for it. Instead, just clears out the wave. Navi there. Looked for a minute like Reckless and Jezus were going to make their way up, but instead they've gone down towards the bottom side because once again, Che is not with his AD carry. He is instead in the mid lane. Nuclear has been left to farm under tower, and that's why we're starting to see a CS lead in favor of Records.
And this just backtracks to the point that we were discussing earlier. A lot of the vision investment from Fnatic has been invested towards some of the paths in the bottom half of H2K's jungle so they can track where Che tries to roam around. You can see that what we've seen a lot of in the early game is just Che trying to move up into the middle lane, support Jankos and Odo to try and make stuff happen. And that has left Nuclear by himself in the bottom lane. He's had to concede an element of pressure, but they're okay with that. H2K are fine with Nuclear losing a bit of the farm because they'd much rather invest resources into getting Febiven ahead, especially when he is on this Syndra who relies on a big mid-game spike. And when you have that kind of randomization at 20 minutes into the game, that's a pretty good mid-game spike.
It's a pretty big spike for you indeed. H2K trying to come back into this series. Of course, they are 1 game down as Fnatic absolutely trounced. That's a word. Trounced them in game 1. It was a dominant performance by them. 15 kills to 3 it ended, and H2K never really looked in it. This game a lot closer, but still Fnatic have the lead and haven't really seen any true tower pressure from H2K. A little bit of a chunk in the mid lane, but top and bot are still standing pretty firm for Fnatic.
And just a bit of an aside.
Oh, hit me.
For those interested in learning how to be a better Warwick. What Jankos has decided to do is actually max his W first into the Q later. Now, I can imagine that some solo queue players at home would prefer to max the Q because it gives you better trading power, it gives you better heal, but in terms of actual value, getting points into a skill, W is the best because it makes it easier to lock down your targets and the attack speed that you get as well. Very, very valuable as an engage tries to happen in mid.
Jezus will get feared up with Khan rooted chain knockback. That's a kill for Fnatic. First of the game for them. Odo comes in with a stand united, so it's here on the flank. Fnatic looking for the re-engage. There's the flash. Yankel's knocked down. Slicing Maelstrom slices him off the face of the Summoner's Rift. 2 kills, Fnatic.
Love the bait and switch there from Soaz. He looked like he was walking away. He had a quick sip of his drink to say, you know what? I'm fine. Nothing to see here. Immediately turns around, gets the knock onto Yanko's jungler is gone. And only 3 members of H2K as Fnatic start the Baron.
Unleashed power still available. Nuclear has his flash. Odo's in the front line. Baron low, 1,000 on it. Smited away. They get it. Fnatic now looking for Forbidden. What can Nuclear do? Not much. Caps gets the shutdown. He's looking for the chase onto Nuclear as Odo falls as well. The charm comes out. It's up to the bot lane of H2K. The hook just astray as H2K retreat with 2 members left alive. Actually, Jankos has respawned as well.
And in the blink of an eye, Fnatic suddenly gained full control over the game. They've held onto the gold lead, but it still felt like it was the H2K show. But now with the Baron,
double knock up into the flea, but H2K just can't do damage to this front line of Fnatic.
Fnatic get themselves 2 kills. The Baron, mid-tier 1. Everything going so smoothly for them. Just what a beautiful fight from the Fnatic lineup. Keep your eyes on the main man, Broxah. His early game impact was not the biggest, but look at this. He comes in from the flank, gets a nice kick onto Che, is able to get out of the fight as well. And then the Gragas, the bait and switch here.
That flash.
Two-man knockup, doesn't care who the target is as long as he knocks someone back into that thunderstorm. Means that they have more than enough CC to shred through the members. And H2K with no smite, very difficult to steal. Featherman very low on mana as well. He just tries to get the Baron. Not enough damage, unfortunately, for him. And H2K, they're just forced to retreat as Fnatic walk away with all 5 members. At the end of it, 4 kills and a Baron to top it all off.
And up until this point, we've been saying, H2K, you've got a few kills. Maybe they're able to play this early game a little bit better, but Fnatic didn't care about the kills. They wanted towers, they wanted to keep that gold lead, and then when they could, they pulled the trigger, and now they are 7,000 gold ahead. Rekkles escapes, got a QSS for himself and a lantern from Jezzes. And once again, Rekkles is just unkillable.
Oof, things looking rough for H2K right now. The game has swung very heavily in the favor of Fnatic. And we talked about scaling Medic. We talked about how, as the game progresses, who's going to have the edge. It's very difficult to give it in favor of H2K. This mid lane Syndra, very good at killing a single target. But just look at the mobility that Fnatic have. They have this big, beefy front line of Soaz and Jezzes. They have an extremely mobile Kennen, a Lee, a Corki.
Che's going for it. The charm does land onto Rekkles as well. Forbidden and Nuclear on their way. Rekkles is going to lightning storm away. Jankos cannot hit the infinite duress, but Jezzes can hit the hook. Odo in the backline, taunted back as well. Che's going to try and protect him. Here comes Caps. Explosive cast will knock H2K to the winds. Fnatic want this engage. Soaz once again goes forward. No flash for him at the moment. H2K retreating. Surviving for the time being. Caps and Soaz on the flank once again as Fnatic continue their pressure, unrelenting as it is in this bottom lane, looking for their 5th tower of the game. H2K have none.
So Odo, he's going back to base. He has the TP, but he decides not to go for a flank as Caps starts to push in the middle lane. 2 tier 2 turrets very swiftly go in the favor of Fnatic to extend their gold lead to 9,000. And that was just H2K trying to get something back. They saw a 4v5 opportunity down in the bottom lane. Caps was not there. But again, the mobility, the disengage, the composition from Fnatic just makes it so difficult for H2K to force a big 5v5 and really just stick to the targets of Fnatic.
And we can see time and time again, H2K are trying to engage onto Rekkles. They're trying to get that Kennen, they're trying to isolate him and take him down. And still he remains unkilled. If he doesn't die this game, it will be the 8th time this split that he has remained unkilled throughout an entire game. The 22nd time this season, including Spring Split. That is a godly amount of protection and amount of disengage from Rekkles.
And he built QSS, 3rd item, which is absolutely fine, as an answer to the Ashe ultimate and the Rakan charm as well, and the Warwick ultimate too. So a lot of single target CC. Shen, Taunt as well with the set, like so many good CCs that you can look to QSS. He's going to be even harder to kill.
There he is. 2 and 3 composition coming out from Fnatic. They've sent Broxah, Jezzes and Rekkles up towards the top side. There's no towers there. They're just playing around the side wave pressure. In fact, no towers outside of the base of H2K. All 6 turrets have been destroyed and removed from the map by Fnatic. H2K looking for mid, but Rekkles is on the flank, as are the rest of Fnatic.
Fnatic continuing to look dominant as they try to force another fight in mid.
Soaz has flash, so does Jezzes. The hook onto Febby, the knockback! The Fnatic wombo combo strikes again! H2K just getting absolutely routed by Fnatic. It's an ace! 26 minutes in, Fnatic are unstoppable!
5-0 in favor of Fnatic. H2K are wiped off the map as Fnatic break into the base.
That was the cleanest, superbest. I can't even think, there's too many superlatives running around my mind to explain how good that was from Fnatic. And it's Jezzes once again who sets up the play. He gives his all for this team, even getting Mikhails when Rekkles already has a QSS. It's all about protecting the team, and Jezzes makes the engage and then makes sure Rekkles gets out alive.
Fnatic demonstrating that loss to Roccat was simply a blip. It was a bad week. They didn't show their respect. But this is them showing their full potential. The flash hook from Jez's. He even had flash up. Oh, Featherman had his flash available. No one body blocked the hook. That is the key target you cannot afford to lose. He has all the team's gold. He drops immediately at the start of the fight, and there's nothing that H2K can do as Fnatic just obliterate H2K.
It's such a great wombo combo, and I asked at the start of the series, if you take Fnatic off their single style, are they going to lose? Can teams work out how to beat their single style? Well, at the moment, it seems like the answer is just no. Even H2K, who have great drafts, great macro, great early game, haven't been able to face up against this Fnatic war machine.
I feel like we really need to give a lot of praise to Jez and Soaz this series, because these two key players have been big facilitators in a lot of the plays that have gone in Fnatic's favor. Yes, you always have to look at Caps and Reckless being those big mechanical superstars that always get you the kills, get you the gold, but it is Soaz and Jez's that is setting up the plays. It is the teamwork that we are seeing from Fnatic that just seems to be so far and above so many of the other teams in the European LCS right now. And I did have higher expectations of H2K. I thought that what I saw from the early game and what I've seen from them in past weeks demonstrated the potential of this team and why I considered them a top 2 team in Europe. But I feel like that time and time again, they're failing to live up to those expectations. And right now, Fnatic, they're looking to get themselves another Baron, secure themselves a 2-0 victory over H2K, and make a repeat performance of Spring's quarterfinal.
13,000 gold ahead, a Baron on the cards as well. Hawkshot comes out as H2K realizes this last chance brigade for them. Jankos and Odo off towards one side, Nuclear and Che off towards the bottom. Fnatic are going to go in, so as with the engage, Jez is with the hook once again onto Bevy, and Bevy just gets isolated and taken down, Reckless on a killing spree. Fnatic looking for more, they'll get 2 at least as Jankos, Odo and Nuclear try to get away, but Jankos just cannot do it. Suppression comes out, but all it does is delay the game. That's the kill, so is teleporting in. Nuclear and Che are going to get caught by Caps and Jez's. Fnatic are going to clean up once again. It's stupendous, it's monumental, it's flawless, it's Fnatic.
Fnatic, 5 kills to 0 once again, 10-0 in the last 2 fights as they close out the series against H2K and sit atop the group.
Fnatic reign once more above the European LCS, 2-0 over H2K.
Beautiful execution, beautiful play. Fnatic looking outstanding in this series.
And I think the question becomes, what does a team have to do to beat Fnatic? Rocket were able to do it by taking...
Rocket.
Basically, yeah, Rocket are the Kingslayers. Whenever a team looks too big for their boots, Rocket comes along and says, excuse me, G2, excuse me.
That's going to be the hype rematch in the next few weeks. But Miserations to H2K, they got dismantled, destroyed. They just did not show up today. Like, Fnatic straight up outclassed them.
I think the question also becomes, with G2 playing UOL tomorrow, are Fnatic the best team in Europe now? Because at the start we said these are the 2 best teams. Are Fnatic, have they defined themselves as the best team?
Well, what I can say...
Come on, Betty, if you can give me more than this.
What I can say is that people in Europe, teams in Europe rather, have not found an answer yet to Fnatic, which has enabled them to rise to the top. They sit atop the throne, in my opinion, right now, because other teams in Europe just haven't found a way to deal with them.
Yep.
And what I'm fascinated to see is the growth of G2 and UOL in tomorrow's series, because I think that'll be a very good indicator of the strength of Fnatic. Because right now, like, Fnatic look near flawless. Their vision, their side lane control, the way in which they force plays. And again, like, very small mistake from Soaz. He tried to make a play in mid, didn't respect the penalty. Sure, it was a mistake. And in game 1, slight mistake from Jez. But that didn't snowball the game out of control. That didn't tell them. They reset, they realized they made a mistake, they came back, and all of a sudden, the game was in their pocket once more.
Just great play all round by Fnatic, I think you have to say. H2K will go back to the drawing board. Their draft strategy, their early game strategy just didn't seem like it was enough to beat Fnatic, but sometimes you just can't beat the best. H2K at points had strong moments there. Their early kills in game 2 especially, if they hadn't been losing towers, you could say that they had some shining lights amongst the darkness that is the Fnatic dominance.
Yeah, it was a rough game. Like, my biggest issue with H2K was I felt like could have been a little bit more proactive with the ultimates and the skills that they had. Instead, Fnatic brought it to them. They didn't really give them the opportunity. And I just hope that H2K can learn from this, but that's what we hope every week. So.
That it is. Well, Fnatic got an impressive victory against H2K. Let's leave it to our analysts for more.
More what? Well.